Alright, so I just came from watching Rebel Ridge on Netflix. It was released about a week ago from now, which is September 6th, 2024. Didn't know about this film until Netflix did what it usually does. You go to Netflix and boom, it's there waiting for you, being advertised. Like, watch, click, watch. Rebel Ridge is an American action thriller film. Stars Aaron Pierre as Terry Richmond, a former Marine who has the funds needed to post bail for his cousin unjustly seized via civil forfeiture by a corrupt police force. First of all, I'm just happy that there are movies that still want to do the whole stoic male action lead. Nowadays, with all the woke nonsense that we consume, they no longer want to do that. Either they have a very pussified male lead or they have some girl boss as the lead. So it was very nice to see a man who acts like a man. He's stoic. Even in tense situations, he can still keep his shit. There's only like 2 times I actually saw him like lose his cool, but those were moments where he was like, yeah. No, maybe like 2 times or where he got like pissed, but like in silence. He never lose like his shit around people. This movie has some seriously tense scenes. You typically see the genre of thriller overused by a lot of movies, but this one really knows what it's talking about. When it says thriller, they know what they're talking about. Some really tense scenes. So there are a lot of themes and undertones of racism. I like the fact that the movie doesn't like preach it to you. Just from the situation, you can generally tell that it's addressing scenes and situations about racism. I'm not American, so I don't know if this is how police deal with people. But in the story, they are corrupt police. So I'm assuming this is not how African Americans are treated all the time in the US. I know that there are cases, but I hope this movie isn't a representation of what happens to like every African American out there, especially a former Marine. Good God. This movie, I was so engaged, I was even Googling stuff. I don't want to give any spoilers. This will be like a spoiler-free review. There were scenes where I was even Googling stuff. And the movie comes off like it's Reacher. If you watch Reacher, Reacher with what's the name of that tall dude? Reacher, that really tall dude, not the one for Tom Cruise, the other one by that really tall dude. The movie is kind of like Reacher meets Rambo, sort of. So if you watch Rambo, the First Blood, yeah, the movie kind of begins like First Blood a bit, and then the rest of it is like Reacher, Reacher the TV show. I like the fact that this movie uses what I like to call the lock system. So lock system is where you have an intriguing lead with an objective, he meets a conflict, and then it plays out until there's a knockout. This to me is like the traditional way of writing a plot. Most movies don't do that nowadays. They just want to meander and waste your time and try to act all interesting and smart instead of just following a simple laid out plan. There are certain scenes, once again, which are like suspense horror level. The tone of thriller is really well executed in this film. It's been a while since I watched a film where I was so scared for the main character. And the main character is a big black dude. But I'm still so scared for him because the corrupt police are really corrupt. And I like the fact that our hero is grounded in reality. Because of all like the superhero stuff that happens nowadays. You know, people shake off bullets, people are bulletproof, they fly off, they run like, you know, freaking Hercules. So I like the fact that our hero is grounded in reality. He can get shot, he can get hurt, and he's not like this like kung fu crazy master, you know, like the Matrix, you know. It's grounded in reality. I think why this movie is decent is that it doesn't use the Netflix formula. So if you've never heard of me talking about the Netflix formula, the Netflix formula is typically generic action, generic mindless action with famous faces for the poster and generic storyline, you know, that any idiot can enjoy. So this movie doesn't do that. In fact, it's the opposite of all of that. It hires an actor I'm not very familiar with who is very fit for the role. Netflix movies tend to typically just have very generic lead roles that anyone can play. Like a movie like Red Notice, literally you have The Rock and Deadpool and then Gal Gadot in the middle. Like anyone, these three can be switched out for literally anyone else. You know, like Ryan Gosling, Anya Taylor-Joy, Then you have a big dude, Alan Richson, the richer dude. Yeah, I hope that's his name. This movie utilizes its cast well. The story is pretty good in my opinion, and it's not just generic action. The action is earned. Yeah, it doesn't use the Netflix formula. My only two critiques or complaints would be the dialogue is a bit funky in some places, but it's mostly okay. There are times characters say stuff and you're like, nobody would ever say that, but it works because it's a movie. Number two, this movie is kind of like two movies in one. Like I said, it's kind of like Reacher, even though Reacher, I know the TV show version of Reacher. So it's kind of like Reacher and Rambo. So when it starts off like Rambo First Blood, then somewhere 1 hour in, it kind of changes. And the first hour had me super engaged, but it kind of slows down after hour one, but then it kind of picks up around 30 minutes to the end of the film. Like, so the movie is about 2 hours, so around 1 hour 30, it picks up really nicely. And so there's a slowdown in pacing, which is a minor nitpick. This movie is generally worth your time. Also, I should mention that the lead is a former Marine, as I said, and he does martial arts, but you don't see it often. I wish it was more utilized. He's like this specially trained Marine dude, so I wish the movie had like put him in more situations where he needs to utilize this more. Also, when he fights, there are scenes where he's kind of slow and blows don't land like blows. What I like about Reacher, especially with his name is Alan Richson, right? I hope Alan, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Alan Rickson, that dude, yeah, Alan Richson, that dude who plays Reacher. The thing I like about that Reacher, especially that season 1 of Reacher, is when he hits you, in fact, he even makes it a big deal, like, I'm gonna hit you, you'll feel like the earth is shaking, But in this film, Rebel Ridge, sometimes the fight scenes seem a bit slow, and when people fight, it looks like it's not connecting. It's funny, all the other action is perfect, especially like the gun action is pretty perfect. But the one where it's actually hand-to-hand actual fighting, maybe they're trying to ground it in reality so that fighting in real life is slow, it's clunky. So maybe they were trying to do that, but we are watching a movie, so you can make it a bit faster and make him a bit more But other than that, I really enjoyed it. Out of 10, I would give Rebel Ridge over here a 7.5 out of 10. I would have given it an 8, but for me, an 8 and above would imply that it's nearly perfect, But this isn't a nearly perfect film, but I believe Netflix really tried. If I was lenient, I would have given it an 8. But I'm firmly rooted in 7.5. Remember, also this movie is using ideas that I've seen before, like Reacher, Rambo. So whenever a movie uses ideas I've seen before, I always give it I can't give it a 9 or an 8 because these are ideas I've seen before, but they are well executed. If you've enjoyed my review, make sure to smash like and subscribe. This is a movie definitely worth your time. It's not the usual Netflix crap. I advise you to watch it. I'll show you here my other reviews for other films I've reviewed. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.